Hello SBA members, in case you missed February's Business Builder on Time Management, here is a modified video of the content provided by Mike Marden, owner of WDS Architecture. WDS Architecture is located in Central Phoenix, and WDS is involved in a multitude of projects in Gilbert and the East Valley year-round, and this number is growing. WDS Architecture became a member of the Small Business Alliance in 2013. They've been able to take knowledge and resources from the SBA as well as give back support with city code feedback and assisting other SBA members with their establishments. We begin with why the topic of time management is important. For Mike, time management is how he balances all the responsibilities and activities of his life. And like most small business owners, you understand that there are always a million things to do and a limited time in which to do them. WDS Architecture has seen explosive growth nearly overnight and has seen tremendous growth since the economy has started to improve. Mike knows if he is not committed and disciplined in managing his time, work and life quickly get overwhelming. Mike started WDS in 2008 and 2009 after being laid off. He was a stay-at-home dad and started his business to bring in extra money for the household. He was doing 8 to 12 projects a year. From 2010 to 2011, he was getting busier. He had 3 folding tables in his dining room and was meeting clients at local coffee shops. He was doing about 30 to 50 projects a year. In 2012 and 2013, Mike was forced out of the home and into office space. With over 100 projects a year, WDS has grown to 6 people. They're licensed in 2 states and have several national clients. That is a lot to manage. So Mike tackled this topic by first taking a survey. Mike asked 10 of his friends, "What is your secret to managing time?" And he received many excellent responses, many with which you will probably identify. Make a to-do list, foresight and planning ahead, anticipate, organize, and repeat, intentional scheduling, planning and being efficient, writing everything on one calendar, not procrastinating, dividing work up into manageable tasks, not putting off until tomorrow what you can do today, and making priorities and creating balance. All great suggestions. But here's what the top researchers and coaches say about time management. Here are several resources and articles to check out and read, some of which are in this presentation. You'll notice that much of what they say is exactly what Mike's friends refer to in concept, but they also suggest some practical tools and means to help you along the way. The first tool is the urgent versus important matrix. You'll notice there are 2 planes and 4 quadrants in this matrix. Along the horizontal line is a continuum from urgent to not urgent, and vertically the bottom is not important and moves up to important. The first quadrant are the urgent and important items. These are activities that must be done right away. The second quadrant is the important but not urgent items, activities we must plan to do as soon as possible. And the bottom 2 quadrants, the third being urgent but not important, these are potentially activities we can and should delegate. And the fourth quadrant, the not urgent and not important items, these are the activities we probably should just dump or postpone. Here are some additional thoughts and facts about this matrix. President Eisenhower used something like this method. He was known to organize his time rigidly, distinguishing all tasks from important and urgent. Note that when we talk about important things, we often confuse the term with urgent things. Try to mentally examine each task and decide what is important and could be planned with, and what is important and must be done in haste. So we should prioritize our day using this matrix and all the quadrants. Tasks that are both urgent and important should be the #1 priority. Get them done today. Important but not urgent could be done tomorrow or later in the week. They are the second priority. But don't put them off. If we procrastinate, these important activities will become urgent quickly, and we don't want to get stuck in a pattern of creating urgency all the time. Those items that are urgent but not important are generally important to someone else, but not necessarily to us. They are the third priority and can be done only after the items in the first 2 quadrants. Email and social media often fit in this quadrant. And the non-urgent, non-important items can be deleted altogether from our daily task list. They are simply distractions that keep us from accomplishing those items in our first 2 quadrants. But you still may be having difficulty defining what in your life is urgent versus what is important. Great time management means being effective as well as efficient. Important activities have an outcome that leads to the achievement of your goals, whether professional or personal. So it is very vital to this process to have exact clarity in your mind your goals and vision as the driving context for defining what is an important activity. So ask yourself every time, will this task help me accomplish my goal? And if you can't answer that, think about what those goals are. Urgent activities are, of course, those items that demand immediate attention, but they can be associated with the achievement of someone else's goals. The benefits of defining your schedule using this tool are very powerful. It will help you to overcome the natural tendency to focus on urgent activities so that you can keep clear enough time to focus on what is really going to help you achieve your vision of success. Stop firefighting and get yourself in a position where you can grow your business. Start today. You can use this simple grid that you can download online. Just start with your to-do list. Assign all the items a number 1 through 5 based upon their importance. Don't consider urgency. Next, look at how urgent each item is and then plot all your tasks on the matrix and get to work. This is an example of many of the activities that fall under each category. Think about what specifically may apply to your life. At the end of the day, this is about not wasting time, saving you time and avoiding stress, and learning how to delegate so we can focus on only important and urgent activities and ones that we plan for. The next concept deals with paperwork, which we all battle. We know that clutter can be death. Keeping a clear desk can help us focus on one thing at a time. One tactic you can use is touching each piece of paper on your desk only once. This will force you to deal with it and determine if it is not important and can be thrown away. Maybe it needs to be delegated, or can be handled immediately, or possibly it can be filed for later. You should use this for your email as well. Touch it once, determine what should be done with it, and move on. Some tools that may be helpful in this endeavor would be to use several monitors on your desk. This may be distracting for some, but others having one screen up that reminds you of your task list, one for calendared appointments, and maybe one with a timer to keep you from spending too much time on one task may be helpful. Perhaps you have many calls that your presence is required, but your full attention is not. Invest in a headset or turn on speakerphone. Decide if you are able to accomplish other small tasks while on the phone call. Another area that often consumes a lot of time for business owners is phone calls. Here are a few tips on managing the length of your phone calls to keep them succinct and to the point. Try standing during your calls. Don't put your feet up and relax. You will be more likely to get comfortable and stay on the call longer. Try announcing your goals at the beginning of the call. Let the other person know exactly what needs to be accomplished by the end of the phone call. Chances are they will appreciate getting to the point as well. You can try having something in view that you know you will be doing next. It's a visual reminder to motivate you to keep things short, and this may help as well. And finally, it's a good idea to set aside and schedule an hour a day to catch up on calls. Perhaps while you're running errands, have a list of the people that you know you need to call, and this will help you accomplish twice as much in half the time. Don't use the excuse there isn't enough time. We all have the same amount of it. We make the time we need, we don't find it. But maybe you really do have more things you are doing than you have the time. In which case, remember that everything is an opportunity cost. If you elect to do one thing, you aren't doing a dozen others, which is why knowing when to say no is so important. If you remember on your matrix what is important and what isn't, this will help you say no more often. There's a good chance you have no idea just where all your time goes in a week. Try logging all your activities for 1 week and you will really be able to analyze and discover those items that maybe you just don't need to do. Maybe they're taking too long, or maybe it's something you can pass on to someone else. What you will find from this exercise will absolutely amaze you. Speaking of what you can pass on to someone else, delegation is one of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal. We can't do it all ourselves. This applies to whether you have a staff or not. Think about everyone you have at your disposal, interns, employees, partners, and if you are a one-person show, think about those tasks that you can offload to a specialist, another business that can do bookkeeping, your social media, your blogging, etc. We often hear and maybe use the statement, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. That's just nonsense. Challenge the people around you to rise to the occasion, and more often than not, they will. Much of this relies on how well you communicate what needs to be done and to what level. Give people objectives. No need to list every procedure, or you're right, you might as well do it yourself. And lastly, make sure you are communicating the relative importance of the tasks you are delegating to make sure others are as successful as they can be. Here's some additional advice from other experts in the field. The average person watches 28 hours a week of television. Make sure you're using that wonderful DVR device to skip commercials on the shows you are going to watch. Think about exercising while watching your favorite show. For more information about the importance of spending time with your kids, eating right, exercising, and getting proper sleep, search Randy Pausch Time Management Lecture 2007. Here are some points from Robert Pausen, top executive at Fidelity and MFS Investment Management, in an article that was published in the Harvard Business Review called 6 Principles for a More Productive Life. These include knowing your comparative advantage, focusing on results, not time spent, think first, read and write second, prepare your plan but be flexible and ready to change, let others own their space, and keep things short and simple. Comparative advantage. This means doing those tasks and activities that your time is best spent on. What are you great at doing that others in the company can't accomplish? What are the menial tasks that you can hand off? Don't get stuck in the operational details. Rise above it and work on those projects that are worthy of your time and attention. Just because it takes longer doesn't mean you are getting more done. The example used in this article was from a professional that was charging his clients for the number of hours he worked. What he found was that he could charge his customers double without anybody balking and actually meet their deadlines and satisfy them, and he was getting more done. So think about what you can do more efficiently, even potentially charging more for that if that's what you're the best at. So many of us pop out of bed and immediately start filling our heads with emails or the news. Try taking the first 15 minutes you are up to calm your mind, breathe, and mentally prepare yourself for the day. You will be bombarded with news and information soon enough. You know throughout the day you will be forced to review your to-do list and reset priorities. Don't fill every single minute of your day. Build in flexibility to react to changing circumstances. Give people ownership of tasks you are delegating. It is likely that your expectations will actually be succeeded. Reinforce the idea of ownership. Keep agendas and bolded lists. When you're doing meetings, committee meetings, keep comments brief so that you allow the necessary time for discussion. The 18th century poet William Blake said it perfectly. Think in the morning, act in the noon, eat in the evening, sleep in the night. The most important piece to take away from this is to think in the morning. This is when your mind is the freshest and most creative. Don't bombard it with information, allow it to settle and think, and practice. If you work on this every day, you will slowly increase the minutes your mind is able to be still. You accomplish this through focused breathing. Give it a try in the morning and also during the day, during the times you feel overwhelmed or like you need a boost in productivity. In conclusion, take the tools from this presentation that will work best for you and start a little at a time until they become habits. Thank you for tuning in to Mike Marden from the WDS Architecture's Business Builder and Time Management, and we wish you great success.